Hi guys, today we're going to learn, this is chapter 1 test, part 3. So this is part 3 of chapter 1 test. So today, this is going to be all about factoring. So question 1 says solve by factoring. So I got to solve the x value and by either factoring. So first step is what I'm going to do is subtract. I'm going to get the right side 0, so I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides. So I get 2x squared minus 8x equals 0. Now I can factor. So what can I take out? What can I take out? I can take out a 2x, right? Because they all have an x here, an x here, and I can take, if I factor out a 2, so I'm factoring in a 2x. This becomes x minus 4 equals 0. Okay, so now it says solve by factoring. So we got to find my x values. As you can see, we have two x values. I could set this into two parts, so we can set this as 2x equals 0, and then x minus 4 equals 0. So there's two parts, and then let's just solve for x. So to get here, this is multiplication. I want to solve for x, so I'm going to divide everything by 2, not subtract 2, right? Because it'll get rid of the x. So this cancels, becomes a 1, and then 1 times x is x, so that's x equals. And then 0 over 2 is 0, right? It is not the same thing as 2 over 0. If it was 2 over 0, it would be undefined. But it's not. If it's the opposite of any number 0 on the numerator, like 0, 5 over 5, it's still 0. 0, so yeah, make sure you know the difference between 0 and undefined. If it's 0 on the denominator, it's undefined. If it's 0 on the top, it's just 0. Okay, over here we have, got to solve for x, so I'm going to add 4. The reason why I'm adding 4 is because I want to actually get rid of it. So this cancels, and you got to add 4 on the other side as well. So you get x equals 4. So that's your two solutions. And I did this by simple factoring. Good. Okay. Let's do part B. Let's see, we have, so part B says same idea, solved by factoring. So let's see here. We have 3w squared plus 13w equals 10, right? I want to solve for by factoring, so what I have to do is get the right side 0. So what I'm going to do is subtract 10 to get this side 0. And I'm going to do it on the left side as well. So this cancels. So on the left side, you're left with 3w squared plus 13w minus 10 equals 0. Notice that I put everything in order. By order, I mean by the highest degree to the lowest degree. So this is my highest degree, which is 2. This one has a degree of 1, so it's 3, 2, and then any numbers like 5, 6, it always has a degree of 0. So that's why it's everything in order. So now let's see here. Could we do simple factoring? The reason why, no, we can't do simple factoring because look, there's a 3 in front of there's a coefficient of 3 of the highest degree. We can only do simple factoring if there was no coefficients. So we can't do simple factoring. So what we're going to do is what's called bottoms up factoring. So that we're going to do bottoms up factoring. It might work. So how we do bottoms up factoring, and you only do bottoms up factoring when there's a number in front of there's a coefficient in front of the highest degree. So there is that coefficient is 3. So how you do bottoms up factoring is you simply, for right now, you ignore the 3 in front of here. So we're just going to rewrite this as w squared. The 13w stays the same. Then what you do is multiply the coefficient of 3 with negative 10. So 3 times negative 10 is negative 30 equals 0. Now can we do simple factoring? Just regular factoring? Let's see here. We have a w here. Yes, let's try it. We need two numbers when multiplied gives you negative 30 and when added gives you positive 13. So let's try it. Can we use 5 and negative 2? I mean 5 and... Sorry, I mean 15 and... Oh, I don't know, negative 2? So 15 times negative 2 is negative 30. Good. So it satisfies this part. Now what happens when you add 15 and negative 2? What does that give you? It gives you, what, 13? 15 minus 2 is 13, yes. So it satisfies this part, so we can definitely use 15 and negative 2. So I'm going to use positive 15 and negative 2. And it doesn't matter if you use negative 2 here and then positive 15, it's the same thing. As long as this 15 is positive and this 2 is negative. Now what you do is go back to the original where we had the 3. Now you're going to divide 3 over here with the 15 and then the 3 over under the negative 2. So let's simplify. 15 over 3 actually simplifies over 5, right? So we can rewrite that as w plus 5. Now this is a fraction and then you can't simplify. This is where we call bottoms up factoring. So what you do is you move this 3 in front of the w, so it's going to be 3w, and then this becomes just regular negative 2. See what I did? I just moved that 3 in front of the 3. That 3 in front of the w, and then ignore the 3, so you're just left with negative 2. And you're left with 0. So now we can solve for my x value. I mean our w values. So if you ever get confused how to solve for w, you could just break it into, there's 2 parts, right? And you can set that to 0. So what I'm going to do is subtract 5 from both sides. I get w equals negative 5. Good. And then over here to solve for w, I'm going to add 2 because I want to get rid of that 2. So you're left with 3w equals 2. Now I want to get rid of this 3. I don't want to get rid of the whole 3w. I just want to get rid of this 3. So since this is multiplication, what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So I'm going to divide 3 from both sides. Notice the 3 cancels. So you're left with 1 times w, which is still w, right? So you're left with w equals 2/3. Right? And then you get w equals negative 5. So those are your 2 w's. Yep, those are my 2 w's. Okay, so that was B. Let's do another one. Let's do C. Two x squared 2x squared minus 2bx plus 8x minus ab. So we got to solve by factoring. Okay, so notice that we have 4 terms. 1, this whole term is 1, this whole term is 2nd, this whole term is 3rd, and this this fourth term is fourth. So if we have 4 terms, you can try grouping by factoring. It only works if you have 4 terms, grouping by factoring. So grouping by factoring is pretty simple. It only works if you have 4 terms. So what you do is you break this into 2 parts. This part here and then this part here. So let's focus on this whole part. What can I take out? You have 2x squared minus 2bx. I can take out a 2x, right? And you're left with, then you multiply this by x minus b, right? Because 2x squared is 2x times x is 2x squared, and then 2x times negative b is negative 2bx. Okay, good. Now let's focus on this part. What can I take out? I could just only take out an ax, a positive a, just a positive a, not ax. I could take out an a, and then you're left with x minus b. Because a times x is ax, and then a times negative b is negative ab. Good. Okay, notice that the x minus b repeats more than once. It's just the same thing, right? So with grouping by factoring, you know it works because if this whole thing repeats or is the same, you just have to rewrite it as once, and then you multiply it by whatever you're left over. So you're left with a 2x and a positive plus a, right? So it's going to be 2x plus a equals 0. And then if you want to solve for x, you can set this to 2 parts, x minus b equals 0, and then 2x plus a equals 0. You add b from both sides. X equals b, and then subtract negative a. 2x equals negative a. Divided by 2, divided by 2. So you're left with x equals b, and then x equals negative 8 over 2. Good. So this is called simple factoring by grouping, and it only works if you have 4 terms, and it only works if this thing repeats or is similar or repeats more than once, and that's how you know grouping by factoring works. Okay, let's do another one. We'll call this D. We have a squared minus 16b. I want to solve for, I want to factor, right? So if you remember closely, this is what's called a perfect square. So perfect square is like, this is the rule for a plus b. A minus b equals a squared minus b squared, right? Okay, so this is the perfect square rule. Which part does it look like? Does it look like this part or like this part? This looks like the right side, right? It looks like this. So we got to make it look like the left side. So first we got to figure out what's my a. What number gives you, when square gives you a square? Just a, right? Because a square gives you a. 8 times raised to the second power gives you a square. And then what do you think my b is going to be? My b is going to be 4b. Oops, this should be a square as well. My mistake. So my b is going to be 4b because when you square 4b, you get 16b squared. So we just now we know our a and our b, so we just got to make it look like this. So it says a plus b, so my a is just a plus b, which is 4b. And then a minus 4b. So we could leave it like this because it says solve by factoring. It never says solve for a or b. So you could just leave it like this. This is your, or you could solve for a, right? A is 4b, and then a is negative 4b. So either way is correct. So that was D. And then let's do another one, the last one for this is part 3. let's do E. Same idea, solve for factoring. So we have 1 minus x to the 6th power. So I want to solve by factoring. So this looks like a really weird one, but it's not. If you remember from your polynomial rules, this is what's called the difference of two cubes. Difference of two cubes is this rule: a cubed minus b cubed equals a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay, so we got to figure out which side does this look like, the right side or the left side. This looks like this side, the left side, right? It's in this form, so we just got to make it look like this on the right side, but we got to figure out our a and our b. So what do you think my a is? What number when cubed gives you 1? Just 1, right? Yeah, it's just 1. And then what do you think my b is? I'm going to say my b is going to be x squared. The reason why it's going to be x squared, because when you cube it, x squared, and raise that to the 3rd power, what do you get? X to the 6th, right? So that's why my b is x squared. So we figured our a and b, so we just going to put it in this form. So a is 1 minus, my b is x squared, so it's going to be 1 minus x squared. And then a squared is 1 squared is 1. I'll simplify this. So a squared is 1 squared plus a times b, which is 1, times b, which is x squared, plus b squared. So b is x squared, and then they say to square that as well. Good. Now, let's simplify this, or make sure you set this to 0. So this is just 1 minus x squared. 1 squared is just 1, and then plus 1 times x squared is just x squared, and then plus x squared to the 2nd power. Since we're raising it, exponent, you multiply the exponent, so it's going to be x to the 4th equals 0. And this is your final answer, because they said solve by factoring. Good. So this is just part 3, so this wraps it up for part 3.